All right, welcome back. It's now February 16th, 2009. It's 12:22 in the morning. In tonight's show, if you saw the little banner up there, it's going to be about human trafficking. I know that Deborah and I have talked in a little bit of detail about what's going on in the United States and a lot of other countries that a lot of people are not aware of. So we're going to dedicate tonight's show to human trafficking. In doing so, we're going to discuss several cases. One case in particular that we're going to talk about is Jessie Foster, who went missing from Las Vegas, Nevada. We're lucky enough to have Glendine Grant, who's Jessie's mother, on the phone with us right now. Glendine, are you there?
Yes, I am, Brian. Hi, thank you for having me.
Welcome back. I know we've had a lot of discussions before on the radio show, and this is kind of new to us, and we're just getting started. Let me go ahead and put her picture up there, if y'all can see that. This is Jessie Foster. Her full name is Jessica Edith Louise Foster, and she went missing. Can you give us the details on that, Glendine?
Yes, I can, certainly. She went missing on March 29th, 2006.
Mm-hmm.
She went missing from her home in North Las Vegas. She'd been living there for 10 months. After she'd been living there for 10 months, she was about to come back to Canada, which is where we're from, and the day after she talked to her sister, letting her know that she was coming back, she just stopped all communication. We didn't hear from her again. We knew right away something had happened. She didn't just choose to stop contacting us. We hired a private eye and found out a fair amount of information right off the bat. We found out that Jessie had, that there was hospital records that Jessie had been beaten. There was police records that Jessie had been arrested, and there was witnesses that Jessie was being forced to work for an escort agency. And all of this led us to believe right off the bat that Jessie was taken away, and that she was a victim of human trafficking. And we're now almost 3 years. Next month it'll be 3 years since Jessie went missing, and our views have never changed. And we have the support of several human trafficking task forces, police on both sides of the border, and people literally all over the world who also believe now that Jessie is a human trafficking victim. And we just work tirelessly to try to find her and to get the word out about her, and to spread the word about human trafficking. It's been out there for years and years and decades, but it really has never been something that has been thought to be here where we all live in the Western countries. It just isn't something that we believe to be so, and now people are starting to realize that it's right there among us.
Yeah,
it's a real scary thing.
Well said. I think a lot of people don't realize, since if you live in Canada or the United States or even Great Britain, that human trafficking doesn't exist in their country. And reading the statistics, that's completely wrong. Matter of fact, I just found this from Wikipedia. It says human trafficking is the recruitment, transportation, harboring, or receipt of people for the purpose of slavery, forced labor, including bonded labor or debt bondage, and servitude. It is the fastest growing criminal industry in the world. The fastest growing. There are statistics that if you go to CIA.gov, that will blow your mind, guys. It goes on in this country all the time. And why we bring up Jessie's case is that Jessie went missing from Las Vegas, Nevada, and that is a hub of human trafficking, especially for young adults, teenagers, in early 20s and stuff like that. And it's unbelievable, just some of the research that we've done, what goes on and how many cases actually aren't even reported by the family for one reason or another. I know that you contacted me back in March 16th of 2007 to open a case for your daughter.
Yes.
And I've got your email here, and it took me basically 4 months to get back with you, and I want to apologize for that. We are getting a lot better at that. Okay. We got it open on December 24th, I guess Christmas Eve of 2007. And real quick, I want to mention some things. And guys, there's some really important information we're going to put out tonight, coming from Deborah Kinsley, about human trafficking and how we think these two cases are definitely related. I know there's a lot been going on with your daughter's case, and there's been a lot of things saying that possibly that Jesse may be deceased. But from the work I've done and everything that I know, I have not found that Glendine. I haven't had any of the feelings of death or anything that with some of these other cases I do. And just for the facts speak for themselves. I mean, she disappeared without a trace. She disappeared under unique circumstances that are kind of related to the human trafficking trade. I.e.,
Exactly.
dancing and prostitution and stuff like that. And if you read some reports, these people are taken in, they're brainwashed or whatever, they're promised whatever amounts of money or whatever fame, fortune or whatever, and they're taken away. And I wanted to read real quick the first dream drawing I did for you back on December 24th of '07. It said Carson City travel stop. Harold Drew, 496, black hair, 22. I believe this is a picture of a 22-year-old. You guys, to follow along, if you just click on Jesse's picture on the page, we'll take you to this case, this specific case. The next thing says number 44. I'm not exactly sure, but it says right now, I believe Jessica is alive and could be living in Carson City, Nevada. Now, this was well over, this was 2 years ago. And I think with the additional dream drawings that I've done on this case and the additional work I've gotten from Gail St. John and a few other psychics, that we all got the same thing. I think we're believing that she may have gone to New York City. I'm not at that case right now. I'm scrolling down the first case, and there's a bunch of there's a bunch of information we had out there. I do see that she was featured on the Montel Williams show.
Yes, twice.
Okay, and I know
they did one show that they filmed in at the studio, and then another time they sent people to our home and did an update here. And so they, that was chosen to be one of the shows that was filmed in Montel's last year before they went off the air. So we were very grateful to have it shown twice. I mean, that's a widely watched show all over.
Yeah, and I'm glad they did that because that got the word out. And also, we've been promoting your website for some time now, and everybody, if you just Google Jessie Foster, Jessie Foster, the number one, the first return you're going to get is jessiefoster.ca. We have links up there, but that just shows to tell you how Google works. There's a lot of Jessie Fosters in the world, and just typing in her name, she comes up number one. So that shows that people are paying attention. And with these shows like Montel, and I believe America's Most Wanted did a little segment on her too.
They did. Now the segment with them, they did it about a possible serial killer in Las Vegas killing prostitutes, which the other girls that were on that same episode, on that same segment, I guess you would call it, they were all found deceased. There were 3 other girls that were found deceased, and they went missing under very different circumstances. For instance, they all went missing outside of their homes. They all, everything that they owned was left exactly as they left it the last time they were at their house. With Jessie, everything that Jessie owned went missing at the same time Jessie went missing, except, as we were told, from Peter Todd, except her hairdryer and her makeup. And it's impossible for a serial killer to have picked my daughter up off of, out of anywhere and taken her away and then gone back and got all of her things. So we know for a fact that though there were a lot of similarities to Jessie's case and the other 3 situations that were on that show, the big, huge difference is that all of Jessie's stuff went missing. And that changes it dramatically as to the circumstances of her disappearance, such as somebody took her from the house. And when they took her from the house, they took her clothing and everything that was, that she had packed up. And I believe the only reason that they took it is because it was packed, because she was ready to leave. And it was obvious that if they had left all of her stuff all packed up, as if she was ready to leave this fellow, and then she went missing, it would look a lot more suspicious on his part than if he just said she just left. The funny thing is, he said she just left, but he also told me that she left the hairdryer and the makeup. He's since then tried to take that back and say that maybe that wasn't her makeup, maybe that was his hairdryer. I'm sure he would have known that in the beginning.
Yeah.
If that was his hairdryer.
Exactly.
You know, so, you know, he's just trying to backtrack on what he said because he realized that when he said it, it was something that he probably should never have mentioned.
Right. Now, speaking of that, you know, you've had some information and new information about this gentleman that we're speaking about. What do you think happened, Glendine?
Well, what I think happened is that Jessie was trying to get away from the situation that she had found herself in.
Mm-hmm.
And when Jessie tried to get away from that situation, she was taken underground or out of the country or, you know, somewhere where she didn't have the opportunity to call, or perhaps if she did call, something was going to happen. A lot of the times when a person is a victim of human trafficking like this, you know, they brainwash them, they threaten them, and the threats go towards them and their family. So I think that, you know, they probably told her that they were going to harm some members of her family, perhaps her sisters. Jessie's got 3 sisters, and myself, that I'm sure they would have used in a threat that would have got Jessie to just do anything that was asked. And I'm sure that Jessie, wherever she is right now, is really quite scared that something's going to happen to us. So, you know, I think she's just doing what she's supposed to do until the time is right. You know, sometimes I wonder if all the publication that we're getting on Jessie's case, I just hope that, you know, if she ever gets a chance to go to a computer, or if she ever, you know, happens to turn on a television, she might see one of the shows that have been done, or see one of the websites. I mean, if she knows that, you know, we're perhaps looking for her, she might even type her own name into a search bar in the computer, and, you know, as soon as she does, she's going to know all the effort gone into the search. But in the meantime, I think that she's probably just, you know, too afraid that something's going to happen to one of her sisters or myself.
You
and,
know, I'm sorry. You know, exactly. You know, that's what happens in a lot of cases with you know, abductions like this, or, you know, human trafficking, whatever you want to call it, an abduction. They're scared to death of what they think might happen to them. I mean, a lot of times, you know, we were talking about this earlier, that they get their victims hooked on drugs, preferably methamphetamines or something like that, where they can, you know, control them. And once they get involved in that, they're not in their right minds. They're not doing what they normally would do. Talking to you, you know, we've talked for hours on the phone, and Jessie, to me, it sounds like a wonderful girl, and I don't think there's any way that she would have gotten involved in this stuff on purpose. But everybody makes mistakes.
No.
And
that's right.
And we talked about this. You know, I've realized that the America's Most Wanted, you know, featured her along with some people they suspected to be dead. You know, like you said,
they know they're dead.
Yeah.
They found them.
Right.
They found those other 3 girls' remains. So, you
and
know,
really,
Jessie, if you look on the site, there's 4 girls. 3 of them have been found, and they refer to Jessie as, you know, they, you know, still having not been found, but they still refer to her as being deceased. However, you know, I've had to phone them and email them and remind them that Jessie's belongings went missing, and perhaps you should, you know, mention that and do a story that tells the difference between Jessie's case and the other 3. You know, I'm really grateful to America's Most Wanted for getting Jessie's story on there, because that was one of my hopes, to get her case on that show.
We talked about,
but
you know,
the fact is,
go ahead.
You know, Jessie wasn't killed.
Right. Well, I mean, you know, anything could have happened, and God forbid, I hope anything. You know, I don't hope. You know, I hope that she's fine. And like I said, what we've been doing, and we talked about this too, about you know, when we thought, you know, maybe this 3rd or 4th person was her, and like I said to you and everybody else, you know, we don't think it's her. And just not only our feelings and the psychics that were involved and stuff like that, going by what we feel. You know, like I said, I didn't have anything that dealt with death or anything like that on any one of the cases, even the teamwork cases that we did. It didn't even fit the profile. It didn't even really match the other crimes. I mean,
No.
it didn't at all. There's a lot of people murdered, but just getting her
The
name
only
out there
thing that
is good.
matched it is that she was in Las Vegas, that she was being forced into prostitution, and that she's missing.
Okay.
And
Forced
that
into
she was brought up as
Right.
one of the possible victims, so that's why they did it.
Right. And we also discussed before, prostitution, human trafficking is a business. It's a sick business, but they don't want to harm their product. You know, they consider them product.
No.
You don't want to harm the product.
That's right.
And so, you know, that said, why would you? You know, there's a lot of bad people out there, but not too many people commit murder because they know they know what happens if they get caught. There's a big difference between
That's
murder
right.
and trying to traffic somebody. A big difference. One holds the death penalty.
That's right.
And not too many people, you know, that you can get involved in a lot of things. There are a lot of drug dealers and stuff like that. There's a lot of, you know, we call bad people out there. But these people would not consider even thinking about actually killing a person. It's a totally different animal in order to kill. You know, you say people graduate from robbing banks to killing people. In a lot of cases, that's not the facts, and it actually takes a lot of guts to kill somebody, and you know, unless you're completely mentally ill. And these guys running these prostitution rings and these trafficking rings are not mentally ill. They call themselves businessmen. And I think you said
that's right.
Right. I think so. We talked about that for a while, and we talked about, you know, whatever it takes to get her picture out there. And that's true. I mean, you said to me before, you know, even if it's the National Enquirer or whatever, her picture, you know, out there. Let me put her picture up again. Is what really is you know, really important, and that's all that matters.
That's right. Yeah.
Speaking of pictures.
Yeah, I was grateful when
Yeah.
the National Enquirer called me and offered to do a story on Jesse.
Mm-hmm.
I took it as a sign. I mean, my mom, you know, has been passed away for over 10 years, and actually Jesse went missing on the anniversary of my mom's funeral. And my mom used to love reading the National Enquirer, and I didn't even think about having her story in there. And then when they called me out of the blue, I just thought, oh my gosh, you know, I just totally took it as, well, I just thought it was my mom, to tell you the truth, you know, because it just came out of the blue like that. But millions of people read that story, millions.
That's true. And if somebody spots her, you know, let's hope they'll report her. While we're posting, you see different images of Jesse coming up here, and you see different hairstyles and stuff. And that's important because, you know, when they take these women, and most, you know, I'd say 95% of the time they're women that are taken. They make them change their hairstyle, their looks, or whatever. And when you get involved in, you know, when you're in, let's say you're involved in prostitution like that, you know, or something related to that, they get brainwashed. They you know, they're told what to do for so long, they just consider that the norms. A lot of times they're ashamed to come home, or for whatever reason, they don't want to be found. And in this case, that could be, you know, that could be the situation. And you know, I really hope it is the situation. I hate to say it like that, but you know. So, you know, if Jessie is listening, or she finds this, because this will go on YouTube and everywhere else, and if she's listening, you know, your mom loves you, and she cares about you, and she really wants you home, and she does not give a damn about your past. And we talked about this before. She just wants you home. And that's really important, Lenny. And you know, I have Deborah on the phone with me right now, and I know you guys talk for hours about how dedicated you are, you know, to bringing you know, Jesse home, and other people. You've helped us out in a lot of other cases. You know, we're trying to get you to write a book on what families should do when their child or loved one goes missing. And I think that you, unfortunately, you have a lot of experience in that. But what you're doing is you're returning your experience, you know, to helping others, and that's really wonderful, and we applaud you for that. That said, I'd like to bring in Deborah and Kinsley too. Kinsley's on the phone with me too. She's been talking with Glendine, and apparently Kinsley's mother had found some information for you, and you guys were just talking about that. So it's amazing how small the world it is. So that said, Kinsley and Deborah, would you like to say anything?
Good evening, Brian and Glendine. It is wonderful to have you here. I just wanted to tell you that in all of the time that I've spoken with you and corresponded with you, you are a true inspiration, and I am so grateful for everything that you've done to help other situations. You have spread awareness for other cases. I'm really sorry for being missing, but she is such a blessed young woman to be, you know, a mom that is pouring everything she has into finding her. And, you know, like Brian was saying before, you don't care what could have possibly happened or, you know, what she was dragged into. And one thing that I don't know that it was mentioned or not, Ken was talking about Jesse, you know, and you kind of get impressions when you learn about someone and, you know, we've been talking with you and stuff. But another thing with the trafficking is, I'm not sure if it was mentioned, but I think that Jessie may have been more on the innocent and naive type side. Wasn't she um, taken on some trips and stuff, you know, something that might make her a little starry-eyed too, but, you know, she was probably more sheltered and innocent and naive, and those people are really vulnerable. There's nothing wrong with being that way. So what are your thoughts? You do feel that, right?
Oh, I do. I mean, Jessie came from a small town. I mean, sure, she did go and live with her dad in Calgary. It's a bigger city, but she was raised in Kamloops in British Columbia. It's a small town. You know, bunch of sisters and me and Jim. You know, a close knit family. We got lots of relatives around us. So, you know, we didn't have the glitz and the glitter. So. I honestly do believe that when Jessie was first invited to go down to Fort Lauderdale, she was definitely blown away by it. You know, we found pictures in her storage unit and pictures on, you know, in her email of her trip, of her, you know, on a big boat, of her, you know, parasailing, of her, you know, just enjoying this wonderful trip. And when she came back full of stories, you know, she came back to a job as a waitress at you know, Boston Pizza and a waitress out at the golf course, you know. It's not like, you know, she just flew off on a vacation. This was big to her. And when she was taken off on a second vacation, I believe that with her, she just, you know, remembered how much fun that first one was. But I believe on that second vacation is when things changed because she was planning on coming home and flying literally from New York up to Ontario and through Canada. And where all of a sudden her flight was changed and she was flying through the United States to Las Vegas. And then when she got to Las Vegas, all of a sudden the plans completely changed where she was going to change, you know, stay there until her birthday, which was 3 weeks away. That part didn't shock me too much, only because I know a lot of Canadians like to go down to Las Vegas for their 21st birthday. But what happened to me is after that, it got extended again. This time it got extended because she said that there was a car accident. That her and her friend Yvonne were hit by a taxi as the taxi ran a red light, and they had to stay for a court case. And then the next thing we knew is she was falling in love with this fellow Peter. So it just seemed as if they were telling her what to do, as if they were giving her the stories to tell us so that we would try to accept the fact that she was staying down there longer and longer and longer. I mean, we talked to her a lot. Every day she talked to us, you know, and I just, you know, of course now, hindsight, you know, we all can see that, you know, something was desperately wrong, that she was, you know, kept away from her family. She had no friends down there whatsoever that were not involved in this industry, that we now find out that we're not involved in this industry. That we even, I spent, you know, 90 minutes on the phone one day talking to the woman who owned the escort agency that Peter Todd had Jessie working at. This woman told me with all her heart that Jessie was not like the other girls who worked there. She literally nicknamed Jessie Little Girl. She used to say, "Little girl, go home. Little girl, go back to Canada. You do not belong here." She stressed to me over and over, I want you to know that Jesse's not like the other girls. Jesse was not a drug user. That Jesse was in love with this fellow and believed in him and was afraid of him. And, you know, she wanted so badly for me to know this and understand this so that I wouldn't have any wrong perception of what my child was doing down in Las Vegas. You know, and I already knew before this about the hospital records, about Jesse having been beaten. So when she told me this, you know, it confirmed what I had already known and was really starting to suspect about what was actually, you know, happening and what happened to Jesse. You know, this woman was in tears crying to me. I mean, she gave me her home phone number in Las Vegas and in San Diego. And this woman owns and runs escort agencies all over the country. You know, she had no reason to give me anything like that, but she wanted me to know that if I ever wanted to talk to her or ever had a question come to mind, you know, I could call her and trust her, and that she literally loves Jesse. And she thought Jesse was dead. And that's why she was so upset when she first heard my voice when I finally reached her. And when she finally, when we finished our conversation, she said to me, you know, Glendine, I don't feel so positive now that Jesse is dead. You know, she just didn't see any other result to what happened to Jesse, having known what Jesse had been through. However, she didn't look at human trafficking as a possibility. So even somebody who was convinced to the full hilt that Jesse was actually murdered, you know, now she actually believes that Jesse is a possible human trafficking victim, just like a lot of us do. So, you know, it's been an eye-opening experience. Trust me, I just feel that people from every aspect of the world, every person who has you know, just come from a different walk of life, have all come together on this and have supported us and are backing us, and they're not looking at the fact that, you know, oh, Jesse was a prostitute in Las Vegas. They don't look at it like that because, you know, Jesse didn't go down to Las Vegas to become a prostitute. You know, Jesse was taken to Las Vegas, and Jesse was forced to be a prostitute when she was 20 years old. And Jesse's going to be 25 years old in May. You know, like, this has gone on a long time, and there's no way that my child at 20 years old would have had the guts. No, I'm serious. My kids they need me. My kid wouldn't have packed up her belongings and moved to another country to become a prostitute in Las Vegas. She wouldn't have known how. She wouldn't know what to do.
I completely agree with that, Glendine. And Jessie is a beautiful young lady. And, you know, with talking with you and the images, you know, what people need to understand out there is that this can happen to anyone's child. It can happen to anyone's loved one. And I'm sure this is a message you want out there. And when I started talking back, I had an eye-opener myself. I did not know very much about human trafficking. I don't know very much right now. You know a lot about it. I'm trying to learn more every day, you know, and trying to be more aware of what's going on. But a big thing for me is there's a lot of vulnerability, you know, with the pretty young ladies, you know, and it does, quite honestly, it happens more to females than it does to males. You know, and the biggest thing is the ones without what you would call possibly like street smarts. You know, most young people that come from good families and are raised in a good way and are close to their families, which Jessie obviously was very close to her family, they're a little more innocent, sheltered, that type of thing. They don't have the street smarts. And when I first started talking with you, I did like a sort of an educational seminar at my house because we normally have quite a few young people around because my children are 19, 18, and 16. I had 16, 17, and 18 and 19-year-olds present. First of all, I had to explain to them what human trafficking was, what that even meant in the first place. They had no idea that it even existed. Now, that really troubles me. We need to make our children more aware, grandchildren if you have them, and it's not just that age bracket. Jesse was 20 at the time. We need to make sure that they know what it is, what the pitfalls are, and it happens to, I mean, Jessie, she looks like, the girl next door, apple pie and all of that stuff, and so obviously she was not as street smart, and she comes from a smaller town, and, I was just floored that they did not know, and
I know.
everybody really needs to be aware, and don't just teach your children. Talk to your brothers, sisters, cousins, parents, grandparents, everybody. Pass the word everywhere, because there is not enough awareness about human trafficking.
Well said.
That's right.
Just don't know what it is.
We were talking about that too. If you have, especially teenage daughters or something, and we have senior class trips coming up, make sure, especially if they're going out of the country, check with this.
Yes.
Go to CIA.gov. Check with the countries
Yes.
where they're going. It's very, very important. There was a movie out right now. It's called Taken. If you guys haven't seen it, I suggest you watch it. And especially if you have teenagers and young adults getting ready to graduate, either college or high school, because they do take trips out of the country. Please, let them know, how they can reach you, and you need to know where they're going to be at, and make sure they don't lie to you, because it's very, very
exactly.
important.
I mean, I just, Natalie Holloway went missing the summer before Jesse went missing, and Jesse was already in Las Vegas when this was happening, and I don't know how or why or where it came from, but one of the very first things I said to Jessie when she told me I'm going to stay in Las Vegas for my birthday, I told her, no, you're not staying in another country where I have absolutely no way to reach you. If anything happened, if you went missing, where would I start to look for you? How would I contact anybody? And I, of course, wouldn't have even imagined that 10 months later she went missing. I just thought I was being dramatic. We watched too much Law and Order and mystery movies, and she gave me one phone number. And, thank God she did. That one phone number, that one name has really helped us. I mean, get some information, the girl whose name she gave us ended up getting stopped at the border and trying to cross, coming into Canada just over a year ago, and it got a lot of attention in the news, on Jesse's case because of this. So, if it wasn't for that one name, so you just gotta, you can't just let your kids go to another country and think they're going to be safe, I don't know how we can keep them safe when they go. I honestly don't. I do know, like, one thing when you mentioned about, educating people on human trafficking, one thing that I do want to mention is that just earlier last month I got a phone call from a local radio station here in town asking me if I had a chance, wanted to talk about this news release that he had just gotten about how Canada, the RCMP in Canada and the Crime Stoppers were getting together to educate Canada as a country on human trafficking. And as he told me about this, I was just floored and so happy that something was finally happening. And I said to him, sort of off the cuff, I said, well, that's great. I really think that maybe all Jesse's, attention in the news might have helped with this, and, not even really knowing if that's what I believed when I said it, but I did. And he said to me, of course Jesse's case has something to do with this, and he began to give me personally credit for changing, the eyes of the Canadian government and the RCMP in this human trafficking, and I just thought it was way too much credit and way too much, to put on me to take any credit for. But, I started to kind of accept that might have had something to do with it, and if it did, yes, because you know, I can't have our family and Jesse being missing and us going through all this. And then in the long run to find out that, you know, we're all the same at the end, you know, that nothing changed because of it, that it didn't help anybody, you know. So I'll tell you, I'm starting to really take a lot of pride in some of the credit people are giving me before I just let it kind of roll off my back, because it was just too much for me to take that kind of credit, to accept that what, little old me, you know. But I'm starting to really be grateful to people, you know, patting my back so much, because it really keeps me going. Really, because if I thought that I was doing all this and all my rest of my family was getting, you know, less of me because of the time I spent on it, and if nothing became of it, well, you know, that would just make everything else worse, you know. But it doesn't. I feel like, you know, they tell me that I do good, and my youngest daughter Jenny just the other day just hugged me and cried and just complimented me so much and told me how glad she was that her mom wasn't going to give up on her sister. And I just was so grateful that she did. Because I need to know, you know, that they don't regret it.
Well, Glendine, everything that you've done has been right. Yeah, I mean, it's amazing. I mean, we're astounded, and you know, I think everybody can speak for this. I mean, you have done everything possible to help bring Jessie home, and you know, we really hope that she's found soon. And I know some things that we discussed last time were, you know, what if she was taken to Mexico, and
well, yeah.
And then we did
or
some
even
checking.
farther.
Right. Now we did find out that they were putting her picture up, you know, out there, but you know, her picture needs to be everywhere, at the border, you know, everywhere. So does that anybody else that may be a victim of human trafficking. But I think in this case,
right.
because you're from Canada and because of the situation of her being into prostitution, people treat this case different than anybody else, which is really absolutely ridiculous. You don't judge people for their actions like that. That's really none of our business. You know, our business is to bring her home. And I think that if it was under different circumstances, I mean, look at Natalie Holloway, okay, who I believe was abducted. Okay, what's the difference? I mean, they were about the same age, okay, but one is white.
There's no difference.
Okay, I'm saying one is from the United States. You know, the parents have a lot of money. You know, what we keep talking about this when we talk about Kaylee Anthony and why some of the other cases, like Aji's case, you know, are not getting the attention that they should, and really it's the media's fault. And I really don't know. I mean, when I know people are watching this show, and like I said, as we started warning, 1,000 people have tuned in. So listen up, media. I mean, the people know what they want. Maybe your poll takers or whatever, your Nielsen ratings or whatever, might be wrong. Maybe they're telling you something. Maybe your advertisers are telling you something wrong. But people want to hear about every single case. And Aji's right there on the screen right now. And Glendine, I mean, I think we've done a lot of things, and I'm really looking forward to you, you know, actually getting the time to write a book on, you know, just for, you know, families that go through this, because I think everything you've done, you know, a lot of families don't know how to deal with it. And I also know that, you know,
I know.
and I also know that some family, you know, some people can't take the pressure, and they break and they cry, and they just, you know, you're different. You drive on, and what I'm saying is you're able to laugh, and I can say if you can't laugh, you can't cry, and we all felt that. But what you're doing is amazing, and I'm so glad that you're sharing it with everybody too. You know, we've directed people your way, and you've helped them out a lot, and you know, and you are appreciated for that.
Thank you.
And I think
very much.
you're welcome. I think when Jessie's found, and I know you'll continue to do that.
I will.
And
I just feel that there's, you know, I wish that we could have found her a lot sooner, because I've known for a long time this is going to be a direction that's going to stay with us forever. You know.
Yeah, but you're honest about it. You know.
I focus so much more on her right now. I'd like to focus more on everybody else.
Yeah, I know.
Too,
you got a new grandbaby.
It's hard.
And you know, you've had a lot of,
a brand new grandbaby
yeah.
and a year-old grandbaby. Oh, I love them so much.
So you got a lot of good things going on.
They keep me sane. They keep me happy, because I can see that they've helped my other children. You know, like my daughter Jenny is the mother of my little granddaughter Madison, who's gonna be 14 months old in about a week and a half, and my daughter Katie is the mother of little baby Jacobus, who's gonna be 6 weeks old tomorrow, and it's helped them, you know, with a focus in their life. And my older daughter Crystal, you know, she's just so happy to be an auntie, you know, that these kids have helped us. These children have made us smile and proud and just, you know, I mean, you know what is so ironic is little Madison can only say a few names. She can say mom, she can say dad, she can say ma, which is grandma, she can say papa. But you know what she can say plain as day is she can say Jessie. And if you ask her where's Jessie, she'll look around and she will find the closest picture to her Jessie and she will point to her. And she will get the biggest grin on her face. And I just, oh my gosh, I just don't want Jessie to always just be a picture. You know, I want Jessie to be her auntie. But it's just absolutely amazing when this little girl looks over and says, Jessie, we just can't help but just be thrilled. We can't help it. She can't say anything that has 2 syllables really yet, except Papa. And yet she can say Jessie. I just think that's amazing.
And I know we've had a lot of talks, and you know, you've been really honest and open about everything, and we appreciate that. And you know, statistically, we do know, you know, that Jessie may no longer be with us. But that said, there has not been a body found, guys. There hasn't been you know, a shred of evidence pointing toward that she's deceased. I mean, look at the statistics. And I was just looking at something from the Las Vegas Task Force. It's actually called the Southern Nevada Human Trafficking Task Force. And apparently they just got a $370,000 grant. This was a little while ago. I think they've got some additional grants just to deal with this stuff because of the amount of human trafficking that goes on from Las Vegas. And they call it Sin City for a reason. I don't care what you call sin, guys. You know, prostitution is illegal in one county in Nevada. Okay, if you don't prejudge anybody, I mean, people are missing. You know, and getting her picture out there, guys. You know, this is her. This is up there right now. Please pass it on. But you know, link to this site. Please link to jessiefoster.ca. The URL is up there on the show page. It's really important to do that. I mean, this is her, right here. Okay, and this is her mom on the phone. Okay, I mean, she cares. Everybody cares. Let's spread the picture around because I guarantee, you know, not too many people actually know that this person is missing. And remember, she could change her appearance, and she might not want to be found. But I guarantee, you know, Jessie, your mom's on the phone with us. If you can hear this, please, I mean, I know you might be thinking a lot of things. That's all behind you. She just wants you home. You know, send her a letter, whatever you have to do. Whatever you have to do, no matter what it is, just let her know that you're okay, because she really needs that. And thank you, Glendine.
And I don't care what's happened. I don't care what's happened in the past. Everything from now is going to happen from now and go forward.
Sure.
You know, I don't want her to be afraid or think that what's happened to her is anything to be ashamed of. You know, what's happened to her is going to just, you know, help other people now. She's going to come home and get healthy and help other people. And I just know that that's what Jessie's going to do. And we just need to find her soon.
Yeah, exactly. You know, so that said, what we're going to do is, now we brought up a little some statistics about human trafficking and what goes on, and you know, when you talk about, you know, you said from another country, I was like, another country? We're in, okay, yeah, Glendine's from Canada, and I think that the statistics on human trafficking in Canada are a lot lower than are in the United States. Okay, and I don't understand that because we have more laws and more regulations than any other country in the world. You know, 10% of our people are behind bars. So obviously something's going wrong in Las Vegas, Nevada. Maybe I think New York City is another hub. That needs to be corrected. With all the laws and money that we throw around to do this stuff. You know, there's got to be a better way of getting pictures out. And, you know, with the internet today, and like we were talking about a missing persons, you know, TV station or something, flash pictures. You know, when you're at airports or something. I know that Amber Alert system is good. It's great, but I think we probably can do better on that one. And
yes.
And I think that when Jessie's found, and I hope to God that Jessie's found, you know, safe. I do know that you continue, and you've taught a lot of people and a lot of things, and you've helped a lot of people. And And Glendine's always willing to help. If you need help, you can give her a call. Go right to jessiefoster.ca, and her email address is up there. She is more than willing to help out anybody. I mean, trust me. I mean, what we wanted to talk about real quick. We can't go over an hour, guys. If we do, I don't think it will record. With your daughter's case, we did find a striking similarity to another case. This is Angela Marie Finger. Let me get the picture up real quick. I just had the picture. And I know you know what I'm talking about. There's her picture right there. It's case number 633. Her picture and case link is also up there. If you look at this case, it talks about danger, New York City hotel, Stewart, Nevada, New York City mob, danger. Okay, goes to Carson City. I'm just reading some of the dream drawings. A 24-year-old drives a truck, black jacket, New Jersey, 44. Map below, I think that it says, well, the map is below. I think that Angela is a victim of human trafficking and is alive. I also might think it'd be dangerous to investigate this case and others for a very good reason. Okay, there's Carson City. Carson City, if I'm not wrong here, I think that's pretty close to Las Vegas, and I do think that is also another hub for trafficking. I think it's from a lot of people come out of there, actually go to New York City, and then they take them from New York City elsewhere. A lot of times it's in the countries by job. And you know what I'm talking about? The Philippines, Thailand, a lot of things like that. They do traffic, Americans and Canadians out of there. We've done some work on that. But what I wanted to bring up is, I don't have much time to say this, but there's some striking similarities to what's on here, and then the notes that I've gotten with the Yale St. John, because there's actually two cases open for Jessie. It's case number 570, and then in the teamwork case with Yale St. John, it's just Jessica Foster. Some of the stuff is completely the same, and why we link the cases together, because it's just not a coincidence of what I'm reading here. It's a really, really long case file, and there's a lot of other stuff posted. If you guys could please go to there, if you can, help in any way, let us know. Remember, go to the forums. The forum link should be up at the top of your screen. Missing person forum. Glendine's been posting a lot of information there too, not only about Jessie, but about other people too as well. And as far as the people that she's helping out, and she's doing a great job. So as far as the links to go to that case, Deborah, you and I were talking about something. Did you want to bring up anything else?
As far as Jessie's case goes,
yeah.
Glendine has been so kind.
We got 12 minutes. So we got plenty of time.
Okay, well, Glendine has been talking. She has been so kind. Now, I'm not going to say anything that has not been posted publicly, but here's where we're at. Now, I would think, personally, Peter Todd changed his story, and that's where Jessie was living. I'm sorry, everyone. I'm going to call it like it is. Peter Todd is a pimp. Now,
oh, yeah.
Other young women has this happened to, and he has not, I repeat, not been prosecuted for this. He has to have information. He needs to fess up.
Yeah, exactly.
And that bothers me. And Glendine has been very kind. I'm calling him right out right now. Peter Todd, you're a pimp, and you need to talk.
One
Jessie needs to go home, and so does everyone else that you have come in contact with and involved with being a pimp for.
Right, but there's
it's wrong.
One good thing about this, though, there hasn't been any arrest made. That might be good, okay? Because if somebody is involved in a murder investigation, they're going to spend a lot more time on that than they are on anything else, okay? So there's been no arrest made. So, if you say, okay, hey, you're working for me, you're going to go with this guy right now, okay? That's, for us, that's good news, okay? Other than what people are thinking.
Brian,
what's that?
There's another reason besides the murder, and this is something that I learned, and it has been also posted by the mom, and that's from the case that you have linked it to, and that's Angela Marie Finger.
Right, I've got a picture up right now.
Her mom has talked about where she was told by some people, and I spoke with her by telephone and found this out, and she posted it in the forum. And in human trafficking cases, when they're trying to bust the pimps, the traffickers, whatever you want to call them, I mean, I'm sorry, but they're just disgusting in my book. But when they're trying to, when they need to prosecute them, a lot of these young women, and it is mostly women, they end up in the witness protection program. And, with the way that works, Brian, Glendine, Kinsley, and everyone listening, if someone ends up in witness protection, you will never know. The government is not going to tell you, and you won't know what happened to your loved one. You won't see them again because they're in the program. So if there hasn't been prosecution there, there's a good chance that, if that possibly happened, which I believe that's possible, it does happen, Jesse's out there, and before she has to have a new identity, she can be brought home, and so can Angela and anyone else who's been affected by this. We don't know for sure, but that's another thing besides murder is the witness protection program.
That's right.
And I'm not sure about the laws between the United States and Canada, but I do know that if let's just say Jessie is in the witness protection program, she needs to testify or something like that. Yeah, they're not going to tell anybody for fear, like it says with the Angela RV that I have open, the Dream Drawings there say it's actually dangerous for anybody to investigate, and the mafia is involved. Well, there is still a mafia, even bigger now. There's something called the Mexican mafia, and they deal in the same kind of stuff too. Now, our government's been really proactive, trying to catch these people. I think even Canada has been. If, let's say she's in the witness protection program, you're right, Deborah, there's no way that they are going to take a chance and to let Glendine know that she's all right until after the trial or prosecution or whatever. So let's just say if all of a sudden you hear that 100 and 250 suspected human traffickers or ringleaders or whatever rounded up, well, maybe you might get some good news. Well, I mean, anything. I mean, like you said, you can't give up hope on somebody that you don't have any shred of evidence that she's deceased at all. And everything,
That's right.
in everything, I realize what people think, that well, because of the situation she was in, that's probably what happened to her. She got murdered by a pimp or something like that. But there's nothing. Even like you said, she took some stuff with her. Okay. None of that really adds up. I know you know that, and yes, there is. I mean, we hope to God that she's not deceased, but we don't see anything. We're just pointing toward her being deceased, and so, like I said, we got to get her picture out there. Her picture's got to be out there. Yeah. Yeah, go ahead.
Speaking of that, there was a question of whether that Jane Doe was in fact Jessie. And Glendine, I know you had some DNA testing done, and it was turned out not to be her, which is good. And it's also good because now you have her DNA on file.
Right, yeah.
If anybody sees her or thinks that they see her out drinking somewhere, if they can get a beer bottle or a glass or a napkin if she uses that or whatever it is, if you think that it's her, turn over whatever you can collect.
Very good point. Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, yes. I know nowadays they can take DNA. There's something called touch DNA. Touch DNA, I believe they can just take off. You only have to go to the saliva off the. You can get it right from the fingerprints, apparently. And so, yeah, if you suspect something like that, I'm not sure about the procedures of going about that, but yeah, I would do whatever it takes as long as you remain safe. She's out there. Remember, there are people victims of human trafficking that just are afraid to come home. They're afraid to come home for one reason or another, and we don't know what Jessie's feeling. We don't know what she's thinking. So that's why it's so important that we let Jessie, your mom loves you. You know that, okay? And she does not care, like we said before, about anything that's happened in the past. She wants you home. There's a lot been going on, a lot of good things. So please let her know any way you can, whatever it takes. Don't get in trouble or whatever, whatever you might be into. Just let her know somehow. And that's really all we can do. But yeah, we talked about the links to Angela, and I do think these cases are related. So, guys, if we're looking for this person, if we're looking for Angela, I think there's a very good chance that Jessie may be with her somehow. So, guys, and I know that we've talked with the family of Angela, and I know that they're very willing to put Jessie's case along with it because you know, the more exposure we get for everybody, the better. So, you know, if you're looking into this case, please look in, especially if you're law enforcement, FBI, or whatever. Please, you know, look and see possibly maybe how this case might relate to something other, you know, something else. But you know, I still don't get any types of feelings, and I hope I'm right on this one. That you know, Jesse's alive, and she will be coming home soon. I mean, I thought she'd be home a lot sooner than today, but
Yeah.
you know, anytime, anything. So that said, Glendine, I'm gonna let you close this, however you want to.
Thank you.
And it was an honor.
Well, I
Again,
just
it
want
would
to
just
thank
say,
everybody for
okay.
their support.
I just want to say it's an honor having you on again, and you're a great friend.
Thank you very much. Thank you all. I always enjoy talking to you.
Okay.
Good night, everybody.
Okay. Did you want to say anything else? I didn't mean to interrupt you. We still have a little bit of time. I know if you want to say something to Jesse or whatever, because
well,
you know there's a good.
I do.
Okay.
I would.
Okay, I'm gonna let you say it.
What I would like to say actually is, if Jesse's listening, I want you to know several things, Jesse. I want you to know that we're never going to stop looking for you. We're going to look for you until we find you. And I want you to know that your sisters and I and everybody, we just miss you so much. And Jenny has the baby, and Katie has the baby, and you know, we just want you back because everybody needs you to come back. And you know, you left a huge hole when you left, and we just need you to fill it back because nothing else will ever take your spot. And everybody misses you, Jesse. We love you.
Thank you
so much.
Thank you very much. It was wonderful having you on, and you know, I know this is really tough on you, and I really hope you know, somebody out there can help you. And thank you, Deborah, and thank you, Kinsley.
You're welcome,
Thank
Brian.
you.
Thank you for being here with us tonight, Glendine.
Yeah, thank you very much.
And I hope to very soon.
Yeah, I think, you know, everybody
me
listening.
Too. I can't wait till she's on your show.
Yeah, you know, that would be, I'd be actually scared to death. I mean, not anything bad. It just, you know, like, I'd be shocked, you know, hey, maybe we made a difference, and that's really all that matters. Once again, here, there's her picture, guys. If you know anybody into printing, into doing websites, into anything, please help Glendine get the word out. I do know that Kinko's does have a service where if somebody goes missing, they will do free printing. I'm not sure up to how many. I think it was 100,000 flyers. You know, pass them out anywhere, especially in the Las Vegas area, and possibly we're guessing around the border, in the Mexican border, the Canadian border, and you know, I am sure, Glendine, that the law enforcement, I know you've been talking with them, will you know, maybe hint around to something else. But like we said before, she is in witness protection or something like that. You know, that'd be wonderful to find out. You know, Mama was trying to contact you all along, but I couldn't, and here's why. So,
yeah.
But we really need to think. Human trafficking is no joke, and you might think it goes on in Asia or something like that. It does, but I'm telling you what, it happens all the time in America. I think statistics say that 1 or 2 people a day are trafficked one way or another. A lot of times it is for labor, but a lot of times it is for prostitution and drugs and a lot of things like that are terrible. You know, that said, I would like to thank you everybody for listening and watching, and remember to please check out her website, which is jessiefoster.ca, or you can just Google Jessie Foster. She's #1, and she's going to stay that way until she comes home. Thank you very much.
Good. Bye-bye.
Bye.